Alright, let's hack Slash. How hard can it be? What the fuck is he doing? Kairete, everyone. Today, me and my little assistant, which you can see there, are going to talk you a little about Slash. And yeah, as you can see from the intro, it's been quite a nightmare because most of the things that it does are dysfunctional. Actually, some of the things that it does would not work on a normal guitar player. So remember this, if you wanna play like Slash, if you wanna sound like Slash, there are things that he does that actually you are not going to do because it wouldn't be quite, I don't say impossible, but dysfunctional, that not going to sound like Slash. Now, let's start with his guitar, actually with his 98 guitars. He uses a Les Paul, but Slash is actually a small guy, so the first thing that you need is a oversized guitar. You need a guitar where you can put almost all your right arm, but today we are mainly going to talk about his left hand. I'm going to cut this video into part because uh, there is a lot to say about Slash. Now, the first thing that we gotta say is not holding a guitar like a normal guitar player. He's not putting the neck on this part of the end, but he's holding the neck with the thumb. Something like this, with the tip of the thumb that is coming off the neck. Now, I think the neck on my guitar is bigger than a Les Paul, so basically I can show it properly to you. But take a look at any video and you're going to see what I'm talking about. After this, we got to talk about his first finger. His first finger is always placed on the first three strings, like T-Bone Walker did, which is basically a very functional technique because you only need to move the other two fingers and you can play. Basically, Slash plays with three fingers, and every now and then he uses his fourth finger, but actually his fourth finger is always in this position, you see? So he is playing and every now and then he's picking a note and putting his fourth finger in place, which is actually a very useful technique because, as you know, you got one tendon on two fingers, so basically holding it like this should help you, if you found it comfortable, to play with these other fingers. Now, we talked about these three fingers, and now we gotta talk about quite a hard thing, his bending technique. We got to say one thing before we start talking about his bending technique. When we are playing blues, we shouldn't play only tones and half a tone. I mean, a tone is D, E, while half a tone is D sharp, E. In blues, we should play also quarter of notes. It's more a theoretical thing because we can actually play a quarter of tone on a guitar because the distance between the frets is half a tone. But while playing bending, we can play every kind of tone, half a tone, quarter of tone. Now, using three finger in order of bending, Slash has a huge control of both bendings, and he can play, obviously by here, a tone, half a tone, and also a quarter of tone. That strange notes that you hear while he's playing a solo, you can hear them in Switch Out of Mine, for example, or Don't Than Me. There are quite good examples. You can hear in his bending that there are some notes which sounds really strange because he's playing in a bending not only a tone and half a tone but also a quarter of tone. I'm not Slash, so I'm not able to show you this technique. It would sound horrible made by me. But if you take any video and you listen carefully to what is playing, you're going to see those strange notes. So basically, if you want to start the slash, you got to learn how to play quarter of notes, because it's playing blues. Another thing that we gotta say is about is vibrato technique. Actually, a human would play vibrato like this. You see, I'm moving my finger and also my wrist. He actually does a very strange thing, because he's moving his hand like this, which I mean gives you much more control and much more extension, but basically it's hard to develop a technique properly. I mean, Slash doesn't give a fuck about the notes he's playing. I mean, it's all hard, it's all playing by ear, which is wonderful. I adore this side of Slash, this techniqueless side, because it teaches you how to play with your heart, with your emotion beside your technique. But if you come from, let's say, a technical path, it's quite hard the first time to understand this technique, because most of the time while he's playing vibrato, he's actually playing some notes out of scale. Let's say that you gotta get used to notes out of scales if you wanna play Slash, also if you wanna play Steve Vai, but this is another thing. Another thing, I think the last thing that we gotta say about this left hand is muscle memory. While changing strings, I've seen that is helping the string change with his arm. I mean, I'm playing like this. Now I wanna change string and I'm moving all the arm and I'm changing strings. I mean, Slash is playing something like this. So basically the arm movement makes much more sense while playing with a guitar in this position and not in a proper position. So basically about his left hand, I don't think there is much to say. Again, one of the most important things is to learn how to play quarter of notes. Remember this. And this video is already 7 minutes long, so I'm cutting this video here, and next time we're going to talk about his right hand, which if possible it's harder to talk about it, and is key. So simply I hope this video will come in handy and you liked it, and see you next time.